Mission start.
Tweeted about it. Looks like we are live. We are officially live. How's our camera angle looking? Looks good. You can read the shirts for the most part. Oh boy.
Everybody. I Am Game shirts are available for purchase, and you should buy them.
Yes, if you're watching this on YouTube, just from the top, you can buy these shirts. A guy messaged me on Discord wanting to find out if we had a medium that we could sell him directly.
I've been talking to him. We do have a medium shirt. I do have his stuff. I just need to send him an invoice, so we're good on that.
Okay.
We have mediums, large, extra large, and smalls. But we don't have a lot of mediums left. But we do have a fuck ton of extra large and large, and a fair amount of smalls.
How much paper do we have left?
We only have like 2 or 3.
Okay.
So, if you want the last official Season 1 run of I Am Game shirts, time and stock is running out.
Yeah. Well, at present, we have no viewers. I'm realizing I have to change the game title and shit.
0 viewers. You know how the PCP has commenter rules?
Well, we have cookies 59.
Alright, we have cookies 59. You know how the PCP has commenter rules? I Am Games has attire rules. And you have to watch our content wearing an I Am Games t-shirt, or you are violating the first rule of I Am Games.
Fraulein says
there is a dress code for this show.
So far, we've gotten a yo and a yo-yo. I'd say we're good to do our intro then.
Yo-Mega? Yo-Mega Fireball?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You're watching I Am Games, the most on-brand stream on Twitch.tv.
We are here repping the Omega Fireball, the coolest yo-yo from back in the day.
Oh, that's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
You never used some Yo-Mega?
No.
No, dude. Yo-yos are big in my old school.
Yo-yos were... I knew a few yo-yoers throughout my years, but there was never a place I went where it was like a big deal.
It was a big fad for a while, and Yo-Mega was the brand.
What grade are we talking?
Like 4th or 5th grade.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't encounter this. When I was in middle school, there were some kids who were into yo-yos, but I think it might be slightly before my time.
Yeah, probably. This is like 99, 2000.
I would have been into Pokemon at the time.
I mean, we were too.
I definitely remember.
We got desperate when the school banned Pokemon. We had to quickly look for alternatives.
I definitely knew of like older kids who were into things like yo-yo. Wait, you would have definitely been above 4th grade in '99, right?
Me?
Yeah, wouldn't you have been in like 6th grade or 7th grade?
Not 99, I don't think.
What year were you born?
88.
So you would have been, what, 11 or 12? You definitely would have been in at least 5th grade.
It's probably 5th grade then. I'm like, because my birthday's late, like I was technically like half a year older than everybody else in all my grades.
Yeah.
So.
One of those. It's really interesting. May and I have talked about this because her birthday is obviously the day before or day after yours.
Correct.
So both of you were like one of the older kids in your class because your birthday is like right after the cutoff. Because for anybody who doesn't know, in the U.S., the school year starts for everything up through 12th grade, it starts in September or August, depending on where you live. Because I was in Florida, it started like August 10th. Most places it's September, and usually the cutoff date, because you're supposed to be at least 5 years old when you go to kindergarten. However, the cutoff for when you turn 5 is like September 30th, so it's possible to start school when you're only 4 if your birthday is in September. But most, like, a lot of kids won't start until they are about to turn 6 because their birthday's in October. Which I think is even more common because, like, as we learned through the October birthdays that happen one after another, Valentine's Day is a popular day to make babies. Yeah. And October is when the results of that labor come to fruition. So there's a lot of October birthdays. When I was in school, my birthday's in August, so I'm on the younger side of the spectrum every time. Like, I was always one of the youngest kids in my class. And it's interesting because May and I are the same height. We're both 5'8" and a half or so. So, like, she grew up being, like, the tallest girl in every class she was in. Because she was tall for a girl and one of the oldest girls in class every time. Whereas I was always the smallest boy in every class I was in. Because I was short for a boy and I was the youngest in every class I was in. So, like, every class picture ever, I'm, like, second from the left. Like, you know, like, there's usually one girl in class who'd be smaller than me. And that was it. But yeah, like, I just think it's fascinating, because, like, what age you start school changes a lot about how you do, because, like, in those formative years, the difference that 6 months to a year makes is fucking massive. And,
it's true.
It's talked about a lot in the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, that, like, when you research, like, hockey teams, in, like, northern schools, and, like, an overwhelming number of, like, the kids who do really well have birthdays that are, like, right after the cutoff date of when you can start on the team, because they're all just the oldest kids. Like, if you start a little older, and that means you're just a little bit better than the kids around you, and you're gonna get, you know, you're gonna end up getting the better coaching because you're the star player, and you're gonna make it through more easily. It's pretty fucking
It's not a level playing field, god damn it.
No.
It's like life isn't fair.
It's almost like our whole society is built around mass production. And just, you know, finding something that works for the most people without thinking about the needs of the few.
It's like our boy Spock said, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. Live long and prosper, my dude.
Wait. Did he say the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's because if you watch Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, he sacrifices himself to save the crew of the Enterprise.
Right. Well, that's like the opposite of what I'm trying to say here. I'm trying to say that we built our society around fulfilling the needs of the many instead of the needs of individuals. But as a result, our society doesn't service any individual particularly well. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, the lowest common denominator kind of.
Yeah.
You're saying the same thing with a negative connotation.
I guess so. I mean, I understand why Spock said that, and, like, yeah, that's fair. The needs of the many do outweigh the needs of the few, which is why we built our society this way. But we need to be working towards something where the needs of more and more people can be met, you know? Like, I feel like that should be the goal, is to make it good for more people.
Man, there's a lot of levels in this.
Isn't Valentine's Day in February in the U.S.? Wouldn't that make the births come in November? Let's do the math. February 14th. Yeah. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. I guess it would.
Well, I mean, we are November, so that was the point, right? That was what we were talking about?
Yeah, I guess I was saying October.
I mean, it could probably go from late October to early November, because I was born, like, hella late.
Yeah, I mean, May
I am a
Tom and May were born on November's 8 and 9. So I think I was saying the cutoff date is in October and saying you guys were right after the cutoff, and that this is why there were so many Valentine's Day babies. Yeah, I think I was saying October, but I meant November.
It's
A lot of people are born in November.
Not really compared to, like, if you look at charts, it just so happens that more people are, like, seem to be clustered around this time, but it's not really.
man.
Let's see here. Months with the most birthdays in the U.S. In which month are the most babies born? It does look like the numbers are all pretty close.
Yeah.
It's not a huge difference. And it seems like largely coincidence. Like there's no... Well...
We've learned a valuable lesson today. Correlation does not imply causation.
Yeah.
Metalhead is the boss. Am I gonna fight the boss before I do any of the levels? Yep. I'm gonna fuck this guy.
Alright, I'm gonna read some chat.
3,000 on the dot! Yeah, let's get into some chat.
Hey Digi, since you like the Maho Shoujo Site anime but thought a lot of its issues came from trying to condense the manga into 12 episodes, do you plan on reading the manga? I don't know. I mean, it's ongoing, so that would be a pain. Maybe May will read it. Tell me about it.
I unironically forgot anime was a thing. That, like, still happens.
I just started watching Tekkaman Blade, and it's great. It seems like something Tom would really like. I concur with that.
Tekkaman Blade just sounds cool.
There you go. It's one of the Tatsunoko transforming hero shows. It came from the early 90s. The main character is referred to as D-Boy. Or Dangerous Boy. Yeah. Because they find him out in space and he has no memories. So they're just like, oh yeah, you're a dangerous boy. We'll call you D-Boy.
Holy fuck. This got fucking eviscerated.
Freeze153 says, I was born in November, but my parents put me in a private school so I wouldn't wait another year. So I was the youngest in my class. Yeah, that's the funny thing is that, like, when it was time for me to go to school, they basically were like, hey, you could start him this year or you can start him next year. Because you can just start a kid a year late if you want to. But, you know, I was confident. Like, my whole childhood was all about, like, trying to prove how smart I was, basically. Because my parents thought I was, like, the smartest fucking kid in the universe. Like, because, you know, they just had... I mean, they just, like, saw everything I was doing and were like, oh my god, like, our son's a fucking genius. So, like, you know, when I had taken a bunch of preschools and shit like that, so, like, I was used to that. But, you know, they were like, oh, he's so fucking smart, I'm sure he can start regular school now. And then my mom probably asked me, like, what do you want to do? And I was like, oh, of course I want to start now. I'm not gonna fucking wait, like... Nah, man, I'm the fucking smartest kid in the universe. Of course I can do this. And at first it was pretty fine. I did really well the first couple years of school. But, then they started putting me in gifted programs and shit. And that was when things went downhill.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, not to mention moving all the time and shit. Jalen Harris came in and said, hey there, I know it's hard to feel like I don't care at all.
So I can't make it on my own!
No, you don't do that without getting paid.
Dude, I fucked
Not anymore. Is this going to be a 2-hour stream or 12-hour stream? 2, probably. When's Cotcast 2? Soon.
Recorded it yesterday.
Oh, hi, Mark! Cotcast 2 has been recorded. It was really,
Michelle's really slow, so I don't expect, like, 2 weeks, probably.
It didn't take 2 weeks for the first one, did it?
Yeah, it took 2 weeks for it to edit.
Damn. Well, I know a lot of that was just like waiting on the art, though.
No.
No.
I think that was an excuse. Sorry, bitch.
Well, in any case, yeah, I listened to the recording of episode 2. I didn't listen to Michelle's side, just May's side, but it was really good. I had a great time laying on the couch, vaping weed, and fucking... We're out of weed now.
That didn't take long.
2 weeks. On the dot.
Is that it? Did I kill him? Was that the boss?
Was that a boss or just a mini boss?
It was a boss.
Well,
I did the boss level first for no apparent reason other than I just decided to do it.
I didn't even know you could do that. That's interesting.
I didn't know either, but here we are.
What was the deal with you changing your name to Otaku Gonzo Journalism for like a month? That was a lot longer than a month, I think. But, I mean, it's always been my tagline, and basically I just wanted to get to a point where, where the fixation of my career was more on the work itself and less on me as a human being. Like, I wanted it to be that, like, because I am Digibro, and my channel is not just Digibro the channel, it's an anime analysis channel. So, like, just having it be called Digibro, you know, makes it puts no distance between the product and me, and I wanted to put more distance between the product and me, and make it more of a show. And I was, you know, the types of videos that I was trying to do at the time, like, if how they marketed had actually come together, it would have been a pretty radical shift in the way that I do basically everything. And that would have made a lot more sense. Like, if everything that I was supposed to be doing early this year had come together, then it would have all made sense. But because it didn't come together, none of it makes sense. And in retrospect, people are just like, what an idiot, he changed his name only to change it back. And it's like, yeah, it's because the plan fell through. Like, I changed my name as part of this initiative that I was doing that I could no longer do once I had moved. Because I could not afford to anymore. So, yeah, that would be why.
Maybe once you crack at 50 dragons, I'll feel a little better.
Man, I got places to go. People to see. In this spot.
How do we fix anime, Tom?
Stop caring about it so goddamn much. That's what I do. And I feel great.
That's a good, I don't know if that'll fix the anime, but it'll fix you.
Yeah. As Aaron Burr famously said, I'm the one thing in life I can control.
Harusaro says, my weed guy moved out of state, so now I have no guy. What is it with weed guys moving out of state all the time? Do they just get caught and run, or what?
Sometimes. But sometimes it's better to be in certain states. Or they're going to college.
Did Tom try weed off stream? What did he think?
I did. I don't really feel anything. I guess, didn't we talk about this on the next stream?
Maybe.
Yeah. Didn't leave much of an impression. I just got kind of tired. And it's like,
yeah.
Oh, I feel tired all the time.
Warble said to that the guy who says weed guy was out of town, go to a college campus and ask anybody wearing a tie-dye shirt.
You know?
Which is Ben's thing that his friend said that he keeps repeating.
Oh god.
Weed guys migrate because of the seasons and shit? Okay. My last 2 weed guys I found asking someone from work if I could buy some of their weed. Shrug emoji.
Was there a shrug emoji or did he write shrug emoji?
He wrote shrug emoji.
Sick. That's what I hope you're gonna say.
How is Spyro treating you, Tom?
It's really fun. It's so weird to play. I think I mentioned this last stream because it plays like an old game, but it looks like a new game. So it's very like weird. Like all these big enemies die in one hit, and like that's not something that happens in games anymore.
It's It's still I don't know. They didn't make it look like so modernized that would be super weird to me. But I mean, it looks. Have you ever watched any of Spyro 1? Because like I watched like most of. I think Monkey had done a Let's Play of this.
He did.
And I watched like all of that, and like, cause I was wondering why I recognized so much of the game last time we were playing it, and I was like, oh yeah, there was like a whole Let's Play. I remember this part especially.
Is it bad? Am I in for a bad time?
No, it's fun. It's just that you have to do a whole bunch of ramps, like one after another. This level's like all doing these giant ramps from treehouse to treehouse.
It's cool. I'm about that.
Dose Tom with edibles, off stream of course, if we ever have any. Drugs are really tricky when you don't know what to expect, Tom. Sometimes the drug is too weak and or you have high resistance to it. It's very normal to try a new drug and feel nothing. In doubt, use more, if you're curious, that is. I'm sure we can give Tom more weed sometime. I mean, we basically sat down with him once and had him share a blunt of Violetta strain, which is like a very much an indica, because we were figuring that Tom wouldn't want to go like out of his mind with thoughts. Like he'd probably prefer to have fewer thoughts than more thoughts.
I have enough thoughts already.
Exactly.
I have enough thoughts, but not enough thoughts, if you know what I
I know exactly what you're talking about, my dude.
mean.
Have you two ever played SimCity, especially Digi, with his interest in city planning?
I've always found those games to be incredibly boring.
Yep. I do. I'm curious about City Skylines for that exact reason, my interest in city planning, though I have not been thinking about city planning at all in the last 4 months.
Yeah. Probably another reason why I didn't like try weed again is because like basically within a day of that, our sleep schedules, mine and yours, completely like went opposite, and that's been how it's been for the last like better part of a week now.
Wait, when did you wake up?
I woke up at 8 in the morning today.
Whoa, how did that happen?
I told myself that I wanted to fix my sleep cycle, so I started working towards that purpose.
Well, see, that's why our sleep cycles are different, because you decided to fix yours.
I didn't say it happened by accident. I'm just saying it happened.
Yeah.
Did you, on the other hand, woke up 20 minutes before the stream?
Yeah. Which is particularly funny because things
it's like
did
the
not
first
quite
time
been
I've
that
seen
way
you
the
in like
day
3
before.
days is right now.
That can't be true.
Pretty much, dude. I didn't see you like the entire weekend because we've been on opposite.
I didn't do anything the entire weekend.
Right. I mean, we don't do anything ever, so like that's not.
Yeah.
It's not a big change.
I got about half of the Tales of Fantasia video edited last night.
Sick. Good.
So that's good.
It's our big I Am Games Hail Mary maneuver.
Indeed.
Terrace Village.
I finally had to, because I ran out of other things I could work on. Like I kept either working on other things or creating new things to work on instead. But eventually the new thing I was working on is Finish or Fail, and I'm doing it with May. And you know, yesterday she was just like, I don't feel like watching anime, and I was like, well, I'm officially trapped.
You're not allowed
now.
to say that in this household. It's all anime all the time.
Tropico might be more fun to you than City Skyline, did you? Keep in mind. Tom experiencing a drug-induced ego death or just feeling death from edible may be beneficial. I agree. Not that Tom has any ego to kill, but...
If anything, I need an ego birth.
Yeah, how do we give Tom an ego birth?
Good question, actually. I've never heard anyone talk about that. I guess if all of you guys donated $5 to my Patreon and suddenly I was making like 4 figures a month, that would be an ego birth for sure.
For what it's worth, I don't think ego death literally refers to your ego, but like the ego part of your mind, you know. I don't know. Could be wrong about that. No, thank you's trying to claim that he's on crack. Did you, bro? Have you ever smoked crack and watched anime? Haha, drugs, haha. I haven't.
I don't know.
He also says, fam, you're gonna need a lot more than an edible to get ego death. Also, ego death is a meme. It's not a meme. Tom, why would you want to wake up at 8 a.m. when you don't have a regular job or school that would require you to?
Because I have a body that's a night person, but I have a brain that's a morning person. So when I don't get up early, I feel mentally shitty but physically great. And it's a curse.
No, thank you's trying to say that ego death is not real, it's just being really high. Well, what's the difference then? How is that not an ego death? Like, I don't think it's like a physical thing that happens. Like, it's not like you, it's not like a literal physical manifestation of your ego commits seppuku inside your mind, but like...
That would be kind of cool.
Could be.
My friend Billy did mushrooms, and he was like, yeah, that's an ego death for sure. And he's like been like super mellow and chill and just better since then. Give me my HP. Oh.
Cocaine will give you a fucking ego boost. It all comes crashing down later, though.
I don't want to get dependent on anything. It's the opposite of what I'm looking for here.
Unstable Hedonist says, well, he needs to do an ego fuck and get pregnant. So I guess you need to get M-preg with ego.
I think people wrote fanfics of us about that before. I wouldn't put it past the internet. Fuck you, buddy.
Have you tried psychedelics, did you? I did some acid, but I didn't do enough to trip balls on it. I have felt psychological effects from weed before, or what's the word I was looking for?
Psychotropic effects.
Psychotropic effects. Psychedelic effects.
Is that not what I said?
You said psychotropic.
Fuck!
That is a real word.
It is?
Yeah, it means like a mushroom that causes a psychedelic effect would be a psychotropic mushroom, I think.
Yeah,
Something like that.
No,
I
was close.
love that this game has basically no HUD.
Murder fucking all of you. Oh, that's weird.
Why was everybody in this Discord freaking the fuck out about an at everyone the other day? Because somebody came in and was adding everyone, and we hadn't turned that off yet. So
Weird thing is we did have turned off and it worked anyway.
Oh, I went in and turned it off. So, like during this incident. So I don't know if you came in after me or if...
Maybe. That might have been bad.
You ever feel like retiring from talking? Maybe as a profession, but certainly not from something I do. Okay, no thank you saying, did you? You're right, but some people use the term that way as if it's some threshold to cross. After you take X milligrams of Y, suddenly you cease to be an individual consciousness. Yeah, no.
It sounds like the worst.
I do think people probably talk about it that way.
Yeah, sounds like some hippie bullshit.
You ever played any of the Monster Hunter games? I have not.
No.
Is
like,
weed a good drug? Oh, sorry, what are you saying?
I'm just gonna say, it's the same problem with Dark Souls. Too fucking slow.
Is weed a good or bad drug for dealing with anxiety and paranoia? I would say
It's good, but stay away from sativas.
yeah, only indicas are good for that. Indicas are the ones that calm you down. Sativas are the ones
You
that
can go
make your
online and
mind
look at
race.
strains and like figure out which ones are good for certain things.
Yeah, you could literally like Google what weed is good for anxiety. Tom, you pussy, just be a drug addict. Jeez.
Nice stream,
That-
all drug addicts.
That requires money. Who do you think you're talking to?
Ego death is a term given to a specific moment in life when the things you thought were essential for you to live die, or you realize that those things don't have much value anymore. If you live as an accountant and that is the center of your life and currency dies, you might experience ego death. You'll have to reevaluate everything about yourself or die. I don't know if that's what that means, Sohar. That doesn't sound like what I think it means. Me may think is also giving a theory that I also don't think is necessarily what it's supposed to be. Because for me, ego death is just not giving a shit about your actual death and pain anymore. I got my own ego death and I was at the worst point in my life and wanted to actually kill myself because I had no idea what was my worth to society. I found strength in the fact that there cannot be any worse experience than actually wanting to kill myself. That's fair. I got an extra stream code for City Skylines if you want to try it. Maybe. I mean, you might be wasting your Steam code if I never get around to playing it, but
I'll play it.
Mark will play it? Will you really?
Yeah.
Yeah? Alright.
I like typing games.
Give it to Mark. Mark will have to post his Steam in
Find it.
the... They had to find it?
I'm in the games Discord.
Yeah, do you have your Steam in there?
No, you can just message me
Oh. Yeah, just message Mark, I guess.
if you want. I don't think it's just like trying to squeeze this guy out of his code.
No thank you says, I guess this is my hot take for this stream. There's literally nothing wrong with being a drug addict. Depends on the drug. Has Tom gotten high at your place, did you? If so, what was his first experience like? We already talked about that. Just Google ego death digi, it's literally the loss of self. Well, yeah, but like the way you defined it doesn't seem like the way that it's applied for the most part. Tom, how long have you been homeless and how'd you get that way?
I'm homeless.
I mean,
Jalen Harris asks.
it was kind of voluntary, I suppose. I just decided to live in my car because I didn't want to live in my parents' house anymore. And so I did that. And then Digi was like, come be here, we have an extra room, let's make cool shit. I was like, I like making cool shit. And that's what happened.
It says, God damn it, why isn't my 3-month sub anniversary message showing up? I have no idea. That seems like a Twitch side issue.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a Streamlabs kerfuffle.
Yeah. Weird. Josh C. Brent says, I thought ego death meant the moment you realize you are not as cool and great as you think you are, realizing that you're not going to be the greatest at all things.
I mean, if that...
No thank you says, allegedly ego death is literally the last 2 episodes of Ava, basically.
It's budget death.
I mean, damn. I have said many times that I felt as though I experienced a sort of ego death from smoking so much weed. And mostly what I experienced was like, through watching other people's videos a whole lot, just like, not only appreciating like how much I've taken from others, but also how much like just how good other people's shit is, and like how much I can or can't do by myself. And it just left me with this feeling of like, yeah, like I am but one more in a succession of, you know, of the same, and nothing I can do by myself will be as impressive as what I could do with other people. So, I guess that's kind of like one of these definitions of ego death, possibly. Tom, have you ever overheard Digi and Mark fucking?
Thank God, no.
Do me and Mark fuck?
I thought Mark fucked everybody.
Mark does.
Have you not heard me and Mark fuck?
I mean, you never hear Mark fucking because he always takes you in your sleep.
I've been awake for it sometimes.
Well,
He hears you when you're sleeping.
drug addiction not being bad is eh. I mean, what if you suck dick and go gay for the weed?
I mean, free weed.
Phoenix19 asks, have you still not gotten paid by Twitch? No, that should be happening on the 15th.
So on
If
the
it doesn't
16th,
have a-
if
if it
we don't
doesn't
get
happen,
paid, we
yeah.
will riot.
Exactly.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Seemed really violent.
Ben Saint popped in and said, yeah, where's the Twitch money? I want my fat I Am Games check.
It's true. Ben does get a little bit of cash.
Ben gets like 15 bucks, right, for that one stream.
15 bucks, little man. Put that shit in my hand. Yeah, I think so. Dude, I can't imagine playing this game with the original controls where L and R control the camera, because like I'm just using the other analog stick and it's like so right.
Digi, do you have any videos on your thoughts on House of Leaves? No, I don't think so. I don't know if I could boil that down to a video. Like, if you read a lot of, like, if you ever see other people's, like, reactions to House of Leaves, a lot of people will do, like, experimental posts about it, and, like, I've done something kind of like that, but it wasn't about it at all, but, like, you know, most people will feel more urge to pay homage to it than to properly just, like, review it, because, I mean, like, fucking, what are you gonna say? It's, like, the most unique fucking book ever, so just go read it. Everybody should read it. I recommend it to anyone.
Oh, yeah, that's unfortunate.
Ego Death is just a bus driver song with Aesop and Danny. Don't really know what you fuckers are talking about. Agreed. We can make this better. No thank you says, on an entirely random note, the new Earl sweatshirt is Flames. That shit is fucking weird, man. That new Earl album, I was like, I don't know. This might take me a while to process. Have you guys given more thought to what you want to do with the Friday stream? Nope.
I mean, we haven't been awake at the same time since that stream, so...
Yeah. Tom was like, before we started, Tom was like, oh, I'm gonna get a beer. And I was like, damn, you're drinking it, it's not even the party stream. And Tom was like, well, we killed the party stream. And I was like, oh, we did that, didn't we? Is that a thing? I guess it should be a thing.
Yeah. We haven't come to any, like, final consensus yet. I missed the streak.
The reality is that we do about 99% of our thinking about I Am Games while we are doing I Am Games.
Yeah.
They are cold-blooded killers. Attack frogs? And this used to be such a nice swamp.
I don't know why these fairies keep shooting me every time I touch the thing. It doesn't do anything. Weird. Very weird.
Jalen Harris asks, Digi, why is the care package so shitty? Well, I don't know, man. I gave you what I thought was interesting.
Damn.
If you don't like it, then I would highly recommend, you know, freeing up your spot unless you want to get another one.
Whoa. Fuck, I didn't even see that guy.
I can't take any complaint too seriously about it being lame because I literally showed everything that was going to be in the care package before I released it, so you had to know.
Yeah, it's on you, dude.
You got to talk about Dean Blunt more so that more people find out about him and he becomes the meme he was always destined to become? I want to make... Back when I was doing Digibros Turntable, I had plans to do some kind of video about Dean Blunt. But I felt as though like it might be difficult without knowing more, because there's not a whole ton of information about him, and you know, I don't participate in any communities for anything, so I feel like everybody knows more about everything than I do. Because
Except for anime?
No, including anime. It's just that my audience is mostly not really hardcore fans, so they don't know anything at all. But like, if I were to step into like a particularly hardcore anime community, I would not be one of the most knowledgeable people there, you know, because I don't keep up with anything. I don't do research. I don't talk to people. I don't like, you know, when I do research on something when it's time for me to talk about it. And as a result, like while I have lots of random knowledge about things, you know, I'm not the most in the know, which is why every time I make a video, there's people who are like, oh, well, there was also this. And I'm like, oh.
We are dragons after all.
I'ma just summarize my sub-anniversary thing. I got a real job, so the Parasite Eve ROM hack progress has slowed a bit, but I still plan on having it done by Christmas Eve because that's when the game's first section takes place. I would be honored to accept IM Games Exposure Fun Bucks if you want to give it a whirl on stream. Sure. Why not? I don't know when that could happen, but... Digi, are you putting up the Patreon post for rant topics soon? Yeah, I could do that. I forgot I had to do that. Tom, are you part of any dev communities, such as Newgrounds, etc.?
I plan on being on Newgrounds a lot more. I should be, because I want to post... I'm going to premiere the game on Newgrounds whenever it's finished in 10 million years.
Jalen Harris says, Digi, would you pay $40 for that shit? You put, like, no effort into it. Define effort. I don't know what you think putting more effort into something is or looks like, but believe what you want, my friend. Would I pay $40 for it? No. I wouldn't pay $40 for anything. I would not probably pay a Patreon more than $5 ever because I don't think I care about anybody else's stuff enough. But that's why the whole point of the package was for, like, anybody who's like a Digibro super fan who wants to see like extra exclusive shit and get something physical. The main point of it was to have a physical reward and to experiment with the possibilities of releasing things to, you know, through mail. I charged the minimum that I could get away with for it, really, because it was like the expense of all the materials and shipping. You know, on top of the fact that you're not really paying for the thing, you're just a patron. Like, patronage, the patron bonuses are just that. They are bonuses. They're never meant to be like what you're paying for. You're paying for the content. You just pay extra to get something on top of that, you know? Digi, are you going to go home to your family for Christmas or New Year's so you can record some Digibros with Vic? Nope. Newgrounds is so far superior to YouTube as a website, it's ridiculous. Probably.
That's great. That's why I want to use it. I'm excited to use it. I'm not really sure where I need to go at this point.
Selhar says, I think you beat yourself over the head too much with this comparison between you and hardcore anime fans, Digi. In programming communities, that happens a lot. There are always layers of people who specialize in different shit, and it's irrelevant. Having knowledge is irrelevant unless you apply that knowledge to something. You apply yours to your videos, and that is sufficient. Hardcore anime fans probably enjoy the active research for the sake of it. It's an entirely different goal in making. Yeah, that's pretty true. I don't necessarily beat myself up over not knowing as much about anime. I just want to sort of give credit where it's due, that, like, you know, if I make a video about something and somebody comes along who knows more about that subject, they will probably be able to be like, oh, you missed this and this detail, you know? A lot of people who do have that knowledge are very forgiving because they just are excited somebody's talking about their thing, and as long as I don't get it wrong, it's very different. Because that's the way I approach my videos is not that everything has to be right, it's just that it shouldn't be wrong. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't care if I represented every conceivable detail of why this is true. I just want to make sure people agree with the premise. And then, you know, so like the only time I would say that, like, I would consider my video as a failure is if the premise itself is, you know, is incorrect. Hey Tom, if you're still keto, this is Ben. If you're still keto, are you experiencing keto brain?
I am still keto. I guess I haven't experienced keto brain.
Ben says, I'm super angry and miserable lately, and I'm hoping it's because of keto and not just a human condition.
I can't help you there, dude.
To which Muck Norris said, lack of vitamin D, Ben. To which he said, I did run out of multivitamins. So it could just be a vitamin problem.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to stay in keto forever.
It's true.
It's not meant to be a permanent dietary change.
You know, there are people online who treat it as such. In a move that surprises no one, I'm sure. Got a key. I'll go that way. What does this key do?
Multivitamins outside of known macronutrients like vitamin D, iron, etc. are not known to have any significant effect, says Mikalica.
Yeah.
I usually do vitamin D gummies, but we ran out. We do probably need to get some more D, especially if we're up at night.
I need to get magnesium supplements, and none of those.
Hey Digi, I linked you to the Awake opening animations a few days back on Discord. Have you checked them out? If no, please do. You'll love it. It's a Daikon-esque project with kaijus and lots of lollies. I don't remember that at all, but I will check it out.
Kaijus and lollies?
Where'd you send it to me on Discord? Like, on the I Am Games Discord or what? I might have missed it in the whole fucking at everyone debacle that was going on.
If I don't want to return home, I want to keep exploring this level.
Do you ever get over stressing about everything you make being shit? I don't think that happens.
That's what I do. That's my life.
Didn't wasn't there like an M. Strange video about just like accepting that you'll always feel that way or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it any less painful.
Yeah. I was just asking if that was the case so I could send it to this guy.
Should. It's good. It's a good video. Everything M. does is fucking sick. He made like a weird visual novel I haven't played yet.
Oh yeah. I switched from keto to intermittent fasting at the start of December, mostly because I couldn't fathom the idea of Christmas without sweets.
Honestly,
From Tazzle stuff.
I have not missed sugar. I had some sugar at Thanksgiving.
Oh, on my Patreon.
It was gross.
In the Anime Talk channel. If you didn't at me, then I probably didn't see it, because I don't check the Anime Talk channel. I only check discussing Digi content. I gotta shit really bad, so...
You're
There's no
allowed.
toilet paper.
None at all? In the whole house?
There might be some in the downstairs bathroom, but there's none in that bathroom.
Oh boy. I have to get toilet paper as soon as the stream's over. If I have to shit too bad to not shit.
Oh, it didn't work. I need 11 more fucking dragons, and I don't know. Maybe I gotta go back. Maybe I gotta start backtracking. Maybe the ride's over, and I just gotta fucking do this for realsies now. Fuck you, you little fucking 8 fuck.
Almost full roll in the downstairs. Yes.
I'm getting desecrated right now. Fucking whore. Fucking whore. Okay. Yeah, can't find nothing. We got bits from some boo. Oh god damn it. What? Are you fucking kidding me? That was a load of fucking bullshit. I look away to the chat for 1 second and I get knocked off the edge. This game is for gays. It's happening. Fucking 90s platformer syndrome. When the forward momentum starts becoming more difficult, and then you start to realize, oh, I've been doing the same 2 or 3 things for the last 10 hours. Now that forward momentum stopped, and I have to start thinking about what I've been doing. No. More bits from Saint Comics. Hooray. I should turn this laptop so I can see what the fuck's being said. Bums can do what they want. Hashtag bums rights. Fuck everyone that is happy. Bums can't throw their pennies, man. I like the theme of throwing pennies at strangers for trophies. It's a good time. Happy people should just die. Shit. It's pretty savage. Whoa, Quirble's like, well, I'm out of bits and can't watch any ads right now, and I'm not about to waste any of my actual money on this shit, so someone else can step up if they want. Man, that's a quitter's attitude. You're not gonna be an I Am Games whale with that kind of fucking mentality. Lord knows we need more whales. So those need keys. I'm learning slowly but steadily. Fuck you. No, I'm falling for that. I guess I can try that over here. Oh, that looks tough. No. There's definitely ways to do better jumps than what I know how to do in this fucking game. Don't listen to Tom. He's trying to lure your whales to kill them for their oil. If by oil you mean money, then yes, that is absolutely true. Here. Just keep going to the same levels and hope I am not an idiot. I don't hate people, and that show sounds like it would be cool in concept, but really disheartening and fucked upon seeing it and realizing this is actually part of the world. I don't know what show they're talking about. I guess I missed it. Jalen Harris says, Tom, what is your favorite Chinese cartoon? I don't watch Chinese cartoons. Unless you're being racist and you mean anime. In which case, you get my respect. Steins Gate, not the other one, that's shit. And that's why I hate Steins Gate 0, because now I have to put an asterisk every time I fucking say that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just change my favorite, you know what, I was about to say, maybe I'll change my favorite anime to Berserk 97, but that's an even bigger asterisk. There's no winning. I'll just change my favorite anime to Toradora. They're never going to make a sequel to that. It's safe. Oh, fuck you. No, no, no. Sick dodge. Sick dodge. I'm just doing the same shit over and over again. This is like when you get to, Rusty Bucket Bay and Banjo-Kazooie, when like the ride ends and you're like, oh god, I've just been picking up jiggies and notes over and over again. Nothing's changed. It's all the same. Damn it. You know what I mean?
You ever have those times where you're sitting around just thinking about how everything's retarded and makes no sense? And then you start to wonder if turn your brain off was like a warning? You know?
I mean...
Like when everyone's like, why can't you just turn your brain off? And you're like, I would if I could! I don't want this! That ever happened to you?
Yeah.
I was just sitting on the toilet thinking about how light novels have never made much sense to me because I don't really imagine things in anime. Like, when you read a light novel, they seemingly expect you to picture in your head the anime characters that they have illustrated on the book. But I never do. Because my mental image of the way that these characters are described is not going to produce an anime character. And when I see those pictures, I just feel weird and disconnected from like what I'm picturing in my head. Unless I've already seen the anime adaptation. In which case I can just, you know, just like kind of imagine, oh, well this is just that scene from the anime, so I know it should look like this, you know. You ever feel this way?
I don't read light novels, I'm not an idiot.
Do you ever read any books with pictures that you were like, these pictures don't seem like what I'm thinking about?
I do that on occasion. But, I don't know. Doesn't really bother me too much. I'm like, that's fine. Part of the magic of reading is that you get to invent your own world.
Right, so then why the hell are there all these fucking pictures of anime girls in it?
Because that's how you get people to buy your books. People are horny and like anime.
I guess that's fair. I feel like there was something else I was thinking about. Oh, yeah. I had an idea to make a book called The Improbability of Greatness. And it would just be talking about how, like, not only is greatness extremely rare because it's difficult, like, in terms of being, you know, the kind of person who can create something great, but also just in that no part of our society is necessarily set up to encourage greatness. Unless you are, like, in a sport field, in which case you need an insane amount of luck to, you know...
Society doesn't want greatness because greatness would endanger the power dynamic that keeps society as it stands going.
Well, there you go. Sounds like I have a whole book's worth of material. Alright, let's look at this photo. What was the last thing you read in the chat?
Something about... Shit, this was so dumb, I don't even remember what they said. Alright, my favorite Chinese cartoon from Jalen Harris.
Oh, so you already answered.
I was trying to think if I actually had watched a legitimate Chinese cartoon so I could subvert the question with a legitimate answer, but I got fucking nothing.
There's a bunch of those now. Every anime season there's like a bunch of Chinese shit things that come out. Fucking Chinese fucking things. Are
you fucking for real, bro?
I think this question was for you. Have you seen Steins Gate Zero?
No. I don't want to ruin the purity.
Did you ever watch my videos about it?
No. I'm desperately trying to forget it even happened.
Tom, what is your favorite American cartoon?
You know, I probably have a legitimate answer for this. Nothing. I mean, fuck. I feel like there's definitely a default answer that I have for this question, and it's eluding me right now. So now I'm thinking to less good answers.
Avatar: The Last Airbender. My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic.
I mean, Avatar is fucking amazing.
Yes.
So it's not a bad answer at all.
Batman.
Batman the Animated Series is good, but I don't think it's as good as people give it credit for. I think it aged less than stellar, but super fucking big props for what it did at the time. I really like BoJack Horseman a lot. I don't know if I put that in like my favorite, but
Have you already discussed about Tumblr banning adult content? More or less.
Did you hear that, like, as of I think yesterday or today, they said as of December 17th, it's all going to be banned entirely for real, like, not allowed to have any adult content on the site at all?
That's where I thought it was going.
Yeah, I mean, it was obvious, but they just made the actual statement, and, like, site traffic dropped 50%, and, like, a bunch of Tumblr alternative sites all crash under server strain of people moving over to it. I'm just doing the same fucking thing. Dude, have you ever... I'm suffering from 90s platform syndrome. Did you ever experience this where, like, you get to a point where forward progression slows, and then you realize, oh, I've just been doing the same 3 things for, like, 5 hours in a row, now that I can, like, have time to think about what I'm doing?
Yeah.
I'm at that point.
That's how I feel about all video games.
Platformers in particular, though, because it's all about collecting. And so now I'm just like...
I guess. I mean, every game has a gameplay loop.
Yeah. Sure.
Mal says that you watched the movie version of Urotsuki Doji instead of the original uncut OVA. Is there any advantage to the official movie version, or did you watch one of the uncut fan-made movie versions? Before I watch it, I want to know the best/purest way to do it. I'm not the person to ask because I didn't know that there was. I thought they were two completely different things. Like, I thought the OVA and movie were just not the same story. So I don't know what's the better version. I mean, it's even possible I watched different from what I marked. I don't know. I watched it on some streaming site, and it was probably like 90 minutes long. It definitely had a lot of sex scenes in it, so it wasn't censored, but it might have been cut down from the OVA, possibly. I don't really know. It was fucking dope as shit, whatever it was. I would gladly watch the other version that I didn't watch.
I just want to get out of here now.
Slumberwheel says, Batman the Animated Series has sluggish animation. Everybody looks like they're moving in slow-mo.
Yeah. I mean, they were working with technical constraints at the time. Like, you know, old animation always looks shittier.
Mime thinks says Gennady Tartakovsky's cartoons are the only ones worth watching. You can throw all of the other trash out. Yeah.
I mean, they're good.
Gennady Tartakovsky was like one of the first people I was a big fan of because I knew his name, and I was really into Samurai Jack and shit as a kid. But like,
did you watch the new Samurai Jack?
I currently think he is like pretty overrated. I did not watch the new Samurai Jack.
Definitely worth watching.
Partly because I think Samurai Jack is overrated. I think that it holds up better on nostalgia and not remembering what the actual like episode to episode story was like, because a lot of episodes of Samurai Jack were lame. And I, as somebody with a nigh photographic memory, who never gets, I never get trapped by nostalgia. Everything's usually how I remember it, unless I don't remember it. And in which case I don't make any assumptions about it. I'm not gonna be like, oh man, Samurai Jack was the shit because I remembered liking it when I was a kid. It's like, I'll watch it today. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of shit I liked as a kid that I quickly realized was shit as an adult. You have anything that you liked as a kid that you like now, like could not go back to at all?
Monster Rancher.
Good answer. Tom and Digi, what's your favorite porn? Like type or specific one?
It is two very different answers.
I think Hentai Samurai might like Kansen Sodom. It's very fun.
Yeah, but she's like in first place in booty calls today.
Hell yeah.
First.
It's pretty hardcore. Oh my god. You guys don't fuck with that.
What does Tom think of Invader Zim?
I love Invader Zim. It's great.
I never really got to see any of it.
It's early 2000s internet culture. That's like where it came from. Like,
Yeah,
the
I know
be
that.
so random. Like, that's it.
I mean, I read Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, so I know.
Invader Zim's just Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, but less good.
Yeah, just without the, you know, without the edge.
There's still edge, just not as much murder. I would still say that Squee is Jonah Vasquez's best work.
Like remembering that Sword of the Stranger looking amazing all the way through. Oh wait, I didn't necessarily remember it looking amazing all the way through. Because all I really remembered from it was the fight scenes.
I think it's the only part you're supposed to remember, though. To be fair.
Yeah. You ever seen that movie?
I have. M. Dot was big about it when it came out.
M. Dot was big about it?
Yeah, he liked Sword of the Stranger a lot.
I didn't know he watched anime.
Dude, he's like he's the reason I started reading Berserk. He like faps Berserk hardcore.
That makes sense.
His entire like second movie is all about Japanese culture, like entirely. Like it's the entirety of its reference.
I haven't fucking seen that shit yet.
You should. It's fucking amazing. If you want like the biggest like visual calm of your life, watch Heartstring Marionette.
What is Mark's favorite type of porn? Jalen said he was asking for specific porn of any type. So he just wants to know your favorite, like a title of your favorite porn.
Dropout. Oh, my favorite porn.
I don't consume porn that way, I guess. I don't like go back and visit specific things.
It's
also Bible Black.
I always end up giving the same answers because there's only a few things that I actually know the names of. Like most shit I just scroll through, watch the sex scenes and then move on. Like I don't keep track of much of it. So that's why the answer I always give is like Polinic Girls Attack, because it's just really good porn OVA.
What's funny is that like for hentai, I usually read doujins or just like comics.
Same.
Because
I stay on that X hentai, dude.
Because like the
artwork can be so good.
The artwork is good, and like for some reason, maybe you can relate to this if you're the same thing. But like watching hentai where it's just like 3 frames looping over and over again instantly takes me out of the experience because I've realized that it's just a loop.
Well, I mean, yeah, and like a lot of it just looks like ass. Like I don't mind that it's a loop because sex is kind of loop in itself a lot of the time.
Yeah, but it just feels repetitive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a weird tip.
My absolute favorite porn is always 3D animated porn when it's really good. Because, like, when you see really good 3D animated porn, it's like another level. Like, you can't believe it's real. Like, when they actually put in the effort to not make it a loop and make it, like, fucking fully animated, it's like, whoa! This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life! It's sex! Mark only likes vanilla porn? No, my friend. Maybe you should go look up the one that Mark said.
Mark doesn't bother with porn.
I'm sure it's not vanilla.
Mark doesn't bother with porn because if Mark needs to get off, Mark just rapes us.
Yeah.
I still watch porn, though. I gotta get something to turn me on. I can't just rape you guys. That's not how it works.
Well, now I feel even worse about myself.
What is Marx's favorite type of porn? He actually wrote Marx's, like as in Karl Marx. But could Tom do an M. Dot lecture?
Probably.
Is there enough to say to do a lecture?
He's been making things for like 20 years.
I mean, I think that the ideal way for the lectures to go is that we talk about something that you wouldn't want to have to find out for yourself. Like no one's gonna go out and study Chris Chan or fucking, you know, the Kingdom Hearts narrative unless they really give a shit. Like, I prefer it to be top. Like, that's why my Endless Jest lecture from RadCon 2 didn't really come out well, aside from technical difficulties and shit. And that's why, you know, it never saw a release, because, like, I watched it back and I was like, I'd rather you just go watch Jesse's videos. Like, there's no reason to have someone break this all down, because it's worthwhile content that would be better explained by just watching it. Whereas, like, Kingdom Hearts, I don't give a shit about Kingdom Hearts. I'm never going to play those fucking games, especially not all the weird offshoots. So, like, you know, that kind of shit makes sense. Or Guilty Gear, where, like, you're not really going to figure out the plot just by playing the game, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and I know, like, other members of the PCP have kind of, like, looked down on the Final Fantasy lecture for this exact reason, that it's like, it's just kind of a summary of the Final Fantasy games, and tons of people have played those, and, like, it's not really a big deal to play them, you know? Like, they're good games for the most part. So, I mean, I still had fun with the lecture, because I'll probably never play all of them, but, like, you know, I appreciate why it wasn't some people's favorite. But I would really love to do a lecture about the Coheed and Cambria albums narrative, because that's the kind of shit where it's like, yeah, you might listen to Coheed and Cambria and shit, and that would be great and fine and dandy, but like getting into the plot is like a whole other research project in itself that you would have to do. Like, you'd have to do all the research to understand it, unless somebody made something explaining it all, you know?
Just want the last dragon in this world.
How did I get so far behind the chat?
Is that where you're supposed to be?
Yeah, but it was. Okay, I think I just missed some stuff.
It's gotta be some. What does that mean?
Selvar says Mark's theme song is Dog Fashion Disco's Pogo the Clown. It's really funny that you mention that band, because just yesterday I was on YouTube listening to a playlist of the unreleased System of a Down songs that were famous back in the LimeWire days. Do you know anything about this, Tom? Were you around for LimeWire?
I was around for LimeWire.
Do you remember that there were, like, did you ever, like, download any artist discographies or anything like that? Were you into music at the time?
I was into music, but I did not download discographies.
So, like, a big thing that would happen on LimeWire is that, like, shitloads of leaked and unreleased songs by bands would be on there. And, also, lots of shit would just get misattributed to different artists.
Yes.
So, like, System of a Down, there would be these popular, like, fan unofficial albums that would go around, that, like, contained either rare and unreleased songs or just songs that featured Serj Tankian as a vocalist, because he had done tons of collaboration work at the time. So, like, all these songs would just be labeled as System of a Down on LimeWire, and my mom had like, you know, downloaded these albums and burnt them to CDs, and we would listen to them all the fucking time when I was growing up. So, like, eventually they made their third album, Steal This Album, in reference to the fact that this was happening. It was all, like, previously unreleased songs and B-sides and shit that they, like, you know, touched up and made into a proper project. But, like, it was all songs I had heard before, basically, because of this. But yeah, I was going back through them on YouTube, and, like, of course, a lot of them are just by entirely different bands. And one of them was a Dog Fashion Disco song that had Serj Tankian as a singer. And I don't even know anything about them other than that. And that apparently one of their songs is Mark's theme song. The song they did with Serj was pretty cool, though. I would listen to more. The best porn is racist Forrest Gump just fucking the PCP. I don't even get that. What happened with a racist Forrest Gump?
He's one of our recurring callers. Racist Forrest Gump.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, be on the PCP and you'll be in on those sick PCP memes.
Maybe if you didn't record at fucking 1 p.m. in the afternoon.
Maybe if you weren't getting up at 6.
I would have been on this Sunday, but I slept too long. That's usually why I'm not on.
Understandable. How do I get over there? How do I do anything? How do I play this fucking video game?
How good do you think your content is compared to what your mentor Ghostlightning made? It's not really a fair comparison because he was just, like, blogging as a side hobby. He never, like, tried to make something seriously fucking huge in the way that I have. It's like, well, I'd say his writing is better than mine, and he's smarter than me, and knows more than me, and could do a better project than I could. I don't know if he's done anything that would, like, compare to one of my large series or something like that, just because there's, you know, like, I've just had time to do that much work on a project in a way that he never did. If you read through, because I was reading through some of his posts recently, just reading them out loud to May while she was like cooking or something, and yeah, like looking back at them, you can very much feel this sense of like this was always a side hobby that he took it seriously enough that it was good because he wanted to do some like, because he was like an English major, a guy with a strong passion for literature who was very well read, but like he doesn't have a career in it and had no intentions of pursuing a career in it, you know. So he's always saying things on Twitter like, I want to be Digibro when I grow up, when he sees my videos that he really likes, because it's like, you know, this is what he would have been doing had he, you know, tried to pursue something like that as a career, but like it's just not something that was in his wheelhouse or purview of interest, I guess.
Oh, get fucked. I was right at the fucking dragon. God damn it.
This guy's giving a bunch of Dojin recommendations, but for genres I don't think any of us are interested in. It says Matarashi Kosei for best MILF Dojins, MTSP for cuck shit, Konkit for funny, the very fappable stories, and Pinvice for Kyoani Dojins that look like the anime. Have you read any of the comics and books that Claudio wrote for the Amory Wars Digi? I have not. I have not read any of them yet. I was around the time of their third and fourth albums, like I, you know, used to do a lot of research and shit and go on the Cobalt and Calcium forums and like read what people were theorizing about the album stories, and like at the time people had read the comics for their first album, but or their second album, whatever one it was that they did first. Oh wait, I have. I read the comic for book 4, the one that was trippy as fuck and only findable at fucking Hot Topic, and I really liked it, but my fucking cat pissed on it one time and fucking destroyed it.
Why in the name of fucking God do I keep getting hit by this fucking cunt? Like, I can't even do this now. Just gotta, like, go find health now. I can't go back, so I'm just fucked. Oh, this game blows my nutsack. It's turned bad.
Read the hentai written by the artist of Mega Man Zero. It's bizarre. Tom, that's why you should be playing Little Big Planet. No unfair deaths like that.
Shut the fuck up. Little Big Planet sucks and I hate it.
Good. Good. Feel the rage. Your audio being just slightly faster than the video always spoils Tom's fuck-ups. Not our fault.
Thanks for releasing me.
Digi made We Have Accepted Mediocrity, then was just like, nah, good video, who needs them? No, the internet was like that. I have no desire to do anything but good videos, but I can't afford to because people are like, good videos, that takes more than 2 weeks to produce, and if you are gone for more than 2 weeks, it looks like you're not doing anything, so we're gonna unpatron you.
Did you ever see the or hear about the video that like the YouTube HQ people made about debunking YouTube myths?
Like what?
One of the myths was your channel gets fucked up if you go on vacation or take a break. And they were like, no, like your channel's fine if you go on vacation or take a break. and they were just like, yeah, if you have up to 2 weeks to take a break, Lamau. And it's like,
wow.
How
so
generous.
They straight up said,
yeah,
like, if you take a month, like I just did on a video, then you're basically fucked.
Yeah, they
but it's,
drop out of the
algorithm. It's not even just them. It's your audience too. Like, the audience won't fucking wait around. Like, they will get on your ass. They will stop caring about you. They will forget about you. Like, I mean, they'll, not to say that they'll forget about you to the extent that they wouldn't come back if you came back, but like, they're not going to think about you in the time you're not there.
Well, people's attention spans are just shot. And speaking of shot, I just shot myself in the foot, because now I'm gonna fucking
And, like,
die.
I totally, like, it's funny because all the creators I know are just as bad about doing this to other creators. Like, after Undertale came out, like, everyone in the PCP was just constantly like, oh, Toby Fox hasn't released a game since then, so he's shit. It's just like, he made, like, one of your favorite games of all time. He should just have eternal credence at that point, you know? Like, at least in my mind. But, like, yeah, like, I made We Have Accepted Mediocrity, I mean, which was mostly Devu. All I did was fucking rant into a microphone. He fucking made that a video.
I have no idea what this one's.
But it took, like, an entire month. And then we did the Finish or Fail, and that also took like an entire month, and it didn't get a lot of views. And then I started bleeding patrons while I was working on the next thing, and I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Like, good videos are unsustainable.
Are you fucking for real right now? I just can't leave. I'm trapped on this land. I gotta say it. What do I do? Where do I go?
Did you kindly throat rape Tom for saying Little Big Planet sucks? Little Big Planet's not that good, dude. Like,
it's not like Super Mario Maker, but with like a sack bitch.
It's a lot more advanced than Mario Maker. The thing about...
That's not a bad thing.
The thing about Little Big Planet is that it was supposed to be that you could build, like, basically anything in it, but the problem is that there's pretty strict, like, size limitations on your levels, and also there's, like, you have to unlock all the shit that you can put in the levels, and, like, it's just a huge fucking pain in the ass. Like, the UI is a nightmare, and like, trying to build a level is just is tiring and boring, in my opinion anyways. I mean, if you took it from the angle of like, oh well, this is a lot easier than literally making a game, but it's like, yeah, you're making a game within the confines of what you can do in a two-dimensional platformer with these mechanics, and like the jumping is slippery and shit, and like,
that's the worst.
It just doesn't, I don't know. I don't think I don't really care for the game feel of Little Big Planet. I love the soundtrack. Don't really care for the visual aesthetic of it either, because it's very patchwork. It's not a huge fan. My friends were super hyped for it before it came out, and then we played it, and we were all like, it's better in theory. No, thank you says, he's referring to We Have Accepted Mediocrity. It has 700,000 views though, and it's also very good, meaning it'll earn you more subs. The only reason that video has so many views is that it is my channel trailer. So if you click on my channel, it auto plays, and any video that I make my channel trailer will continually grow just because more people will always be coming to the channel. But like, you can't really use We Have Accepted Mediocrity as the measure for anything, because again, on my part, it was literally like 45 minutes of effort. Like, it's an unscripted video. It was entirely edited by Devu. So like, for me, it's just an amount of time that I waited and an amount of money that I paid. And like, that is the meaning of it. So like, whereas the next video, Finish or Fail, not only took more effort on my part, but also, you know, still involved Davoo, still involved a long wait, still involved a lot of money, and didn't get anywhere close to that many views. And like, you know, if it's gonna be hit or miss like that, if there's no guarantees, there's no way to say that like, oh, just make good videos and people will watch it. It's like that clearly didn't happen. So it's, you know, the reason We Have Accepted Mediocrity was so successful in the first place is that it has an incendiary title. Whereas, you know, you can't just apply that to anything. Man, Digibro, when are we playing Time Crisis 3? I don't know how we could even set up Time Crisis 3.
Play Time Crisis 3, we'd have to get a CRT TV.
Yeah. But then if people go from that video, click on your channel, and see some bullshit like SAO Weekly, they're not going to sub and stick around. Why? SAO Weekly's great. Why are you shitting on SAO Weekly?
Why SAO Weekly was dead?
It is pretty much dead. I thought they were good videos. Especially the first one. I put way more effort into that than I did into fucking We Have Accepted Mediocrity. Personally. I don't know, I always feel like everybody perceives my videos very differently from how I do, because I feel like people are always, especially like my fans who've been watching for a while, it feels as though people approach every video with like, well, how much effort did he put into this one? Or like, oh, is this a sellout video?
Oh my fucking god, this game sucks.
And it's like, I really take almost the exact same approach to everything I do. So like, to me, it never feels like this. Like, when people will compare two of my videos and be like, oh, this one, you made something great like this and something shit like this, and I'm like, from my perspective, those are basically on par. Not to say that We've Accepted Mediocrity is on par with SAO Weekly, because that video is crazy, but again, that represents more than a month of Davoo's work. Like, even 700,000 views is not enough to make up for that, like, for the amount of work that was put into it. 700,000 views in ad rev is worth, like, $700. That's not even the cost of what I paid Davoo to edit that video, you know? And my patrons were not satisfied that there was nothing on the channel for a month, and not long afterwards I burned a bunch of patrons while they were waiting for the next video. So like, it's totally unsustainable to do that style of video. And in any case, like, the only reason my career is even possible at all is just that I work so much faster and have ideas so much faster than most people that like it's even capable to like my career shouldn't even be sustainable in the first place, like, compared to the way that most people work. My shit's crazy, but you know, a one-man production can only take you so far. Tazzlespud says, I really don't get it. There's literally more Digi content than I can possibly consume. Why can't people wait for more greatness? People just can't, man. And a lot of people don't watch me for greatness. They watch me to have something to watch every single day. They're like, and I understand that, because I'm like always out of shit to watch. Because like, I only like a few personalities. I'm not the type of person who wants to go out and watch like all kinds of shit. I want to watch shit that's like the most relatable to me. And like, I like to just have a constant stream of like podcasts and let's plays that I can throw on in the background. So I get that, and like why that would be important for some people. But I do think that like there's always going to be diminishing returns, because if you listen to me talk enough, you're going to hear everything I have to say, and then people start telling me things like, I feel like Digi's gotten boring or like less interesting after 4 years as a fan, and I'm like, maybe it's because you've listened to me say everything I could conceivably say, you know? Selhar says, you're trying to do a craft in a factory, Digi. The medium of YouTube doesn't work for doing the best you can. Gotta figure shit out, nigga. Exactly. And like, I also don't think that I'm necessarily at the caliber as a creative where I could do original work or more you know, more interesting work and have it always be good or worth people's time, as compared to what I can provide as, you know, as a faster YouTuber.
You should just stop YouTube and make video games.
Funky Billiard says, I think the problem with Finish or Fail is, or at least with me, it's a show that someone hasn't watched, they have no reason to watch your video, or if they're unfamiliar with the season, etc. We're talking about the Finish or Fail on the main channel, though, which was very different, because it wasn't just a review of the show from the perspective of, like, you have to have seen it. It was like a guided experience, just like any of my other videos, you know? Like, it took you through and explained everything.
Well,
Hey Digibro, so I am a certified Zoomer, but recently I got into this boomer podcast called Unpopular Opinion since I have surrounded myself with boomer media. Am I the last boomer or the first boomer Zoomer? You're just lay born in the wrong generation.
you have you have generation dysphoria.
Born in lay. Have you ever? You know that phrase, right? Born in lay wrong generation.
Yeah.
Because if. And this is unironically true, and it's fucking hilarious. If you go to, like, any older band's YouTube releases,
oh god,
the comments are always either like, you know, oh man, music used to be great, now it's all shit. On, like, a band that sounds like something that would still happen today, you know, or like something, and then lots of, this band is underrated, this band should be the, like, because I think that almost everybody views, like, media as a contest. Like, the average normal person, they view it as, like, you have to like the best thing, you know? So, like, they see it as, oh, popular music is all shit I don't like, but, like, I'm not gonna lose. My music is better than that, and more deserving, and the world is just wrong for not having celebrated the music that I like, because it has to be a competition, you know? But it shouldn't be.
Entertainment and media is not a zero.
It looks like Quirburble had actually beaten me to the born and lay wrong generation joke. Good on you. Tom, kindly throat fuck Digi in return. You're both wrong. Little Big Planet is cute and fun, and that makes it better than anything else because nothing will ever be as cute and fun as Little Big Planet. I challenge you with Kirby's epic yarn.
I think Spyro is way cuter than Sackboy. First of all, saying the name Spyro doesn't remind me of a ball sack, so.
My mom made some pretty sick Sackboy crochet plushes. That was what she gave my buddy Donson for his birthday, because he was the one who was super like into Little Big Planet before it had released. And she made him like a full-size Sackboy.
Digi.
Mm-hmm.
We need 10 more dragons before we go to the next area, which means I have to backtrack to all the previous worlds. There's only 2 more dragons left in this world.
Big complain?
We're just getting to the grindy part, you know. It's like when you're playing Banjo-Kazooie and you're just like, oh god, I need like 3 more jiggies. I gotta go back to like fucking the first level and like really comb over shit and like, you know. It's turning into a video game and less of a pretty experience.
This is an interesting thought. Metallica asks, could you artificially inflate poorly performing videos and influence the YouTube algorithm by putting them as your channel trailer for a while? Maybe? It might even be worth doing. It might be worth trying, because I don't know how many people actually like watch the channel trailer. Like, well, because I know YouTube views, the way they work is that like generally
you don't watch the whole video to get a view.
Yeah, but you can't just watch like the first 10 seconds either, right?
No.
Like, you have to watch a certain amount of it.
Right, but if you go into, like, your retention, like, most videos' retention is, like, under 50%.
Right. That's one of those things. Man, okay, I learned pretty early on not to look at the raw data on YouTube and take it, like, to always take the data with a huge grain of salt, because people make weird assumptions about shit like that. Like, people see the retention rates. This is, okay, the number one reason I know that Maddox, like, that I knew that Maddox was, like, a weird autist even before it was, like, revealed, is because of the way that he would talk about YouTube analytics. Because he seemed to legitimately think that everyone only watches, like, 3 minutes of a video and then clicks off. But the reality is that, A, your retention often gets skewed. Like, if you're just looking at the overall, like, because that's what he would do. He would look at, like, the average viewer time. It's like, yeah, but you have to consider that the average could mean half of everybody watched 10 seconds and clicked off, and the other half all finished the video.
Right.
You know? And you also have to consider the fact that, like, a lot of people just click off of videos because people aren't sitting down for a cinematic experience. They're fucking flipping it open on their phone. They pause it. They might continue it later. They might not. You know, like, all the time I quit out of videos and then I might pick it up later. Or if it's not that interesting of a video, I might never pick it up again, you know? But, like, I think people read way too deep into that stuff and they start basing their content around it without really thinking about what it means. Because, the reason that the biggest problem in the Universe live show got so much shit is that they had cut it down to, like, a 15-minute show as opposed to the hour-long radio show. And it was because Maddox thought that because the viewer retention rates were so bad on YouTube that nobody would watch it if it was full length, even though that was, like, the whole fucking point of the show, was that it was a long-form show. And the actual recordings were like 45 minutes long, so why the fuck did he feel the need to cut it down so hard? Anyway. I hear a subscription notification. That was for Tito Kazim with a tier 1 sub for the 3rd month in a row.
Yeah.
Who said making this notification go away. Don't know what he's referring to, but
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Alright, now I gotta scroll back up.
How long have we been going for? I feel like I'm doing this for about
145.
17 years is what it feels like. I don't know how to get back to previous worlds. What are we doing? What are we doing on here? Well, Magic Crafters I did pretty goddamn good. In fact, I think I got all the dragons there. Missing a few in Peacekeeper's World. Actually, 1, 2, 3.
SAO Weekly felt like it wasn't something only Digi could make. Good videos, but not what I wish Digi spent his time doing. You're trying to tell me that somebody else could have made a rap beat out of the sound effects from the show and then rapped over it with a rap about their personal experience of having blogged the show for 3 years. Who could have created that? You tell me. Anyway. Hey, we got another guy.
Huh.
The only time I don't watch your videos is when it's about something I don't care about. I don't think it really think about quality when watching YouTube. There you go. I don't think a lot of people do.
Go here. So, weird thing. We need 50 dragons to move on to the next part of the game. There are only 7. We have 40 right now. There are only 7 left of all the levels that we've been to. Which means it's impossible to progress unless...
Ritsu Zix is subscribed to Twitch Prime for 3 months in a row.
What a winner.
What a fucking winner.
Yeah. What a games.
Very games.
The highest compliment I can give anyone.
So hard. The way I approach your videos is, will this entertain me even if I don't care about the subject, since most of the time I don't. And SAO Weekly were 100% skippable. The only way I can see myself watching them was if I cared about SAO. I didn't feel like that with the Steins Gate videos, for example. I watched and enjoyed them, and I hate Steins Gate. Well, that's unfortunate. My biggest concern about the SAO Weekly videos was the fact that they didn't necessarily make as much sense if you weren't watching the show. But then again, initially they were just supposed to be meme videos. There wasn't really meant to be any like coherent analysis in them unless that was something that I thought would be interesting. So I took that approach for like numbers 3 and 4 a little harder, but like 1 and 2 are just a bunch of memes.
Already done everything here.
Jalen Harris says, fuck the impatient fans, just make whatever you feel like. That's what I tried to do. I can't afford to just do whatever I feel like. No thank you, man. Fuck's sake, fuck the fans. Make good content for the real people and for yourself. I would if I could.
What if you just...
If I didn't live in a house.
What if you did an experiment where you purposely made the most shallow, shitty, like cookie cutter, easy to create content possible? Like, what if you made 5 videos in a day, staggered them out over the weeks, and then just made big videos while that like literal
I've
garbage
tried to do
just
that 1,000
trickled
times. That's what I'm always trying to do.
Why not just do it then?
Because I don't... The problem is that most of this, like, the stuff that you could do that would be, like, generic, easy videos, I would have to do them about generic, easy topics, and that would require me to watch bad anime.
I think you should just do it. You know what? You should... This is what you should do. You should just write about those anime without watching them. I bet you wouldn't even need to. I've
accomplished this. Everything you're saying is stuff I've already done.
Then why aren't you just continuing to do that?
It wasn't successful.
But then why?
Because all of my money comes from patrons, and they don't want that.
Then what do the patrons want?
The patrons have no fucking idea what they want. They just know what they don't want. That's the problem.
I mean, but what kind of content that you do is the most successful?
For my patrons, literally, there is no... I have no fucking idea. Like, everybody wants something different.
It sounds like your audience is not very galvanized.
I don't even know what that means.
They're not, like...
United?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not. Not at all. I mean, like, depending on who you... Like, some people's favorite thing I do is my music, and are just paying me to make music, you know? Like... And then, like, 90% of my audience doesn't give a single fuck about my music. Like, I've got people who are patrons exclusively for podcasts, you know, who don't even... I got people who don't watch the main channel at all, who only watch After Dark. Like, but then I've got people who don't give a shit about After Dark and only care about anime. So it's like, there is no unification at all. There's no easy way out. It's just like, how do I keep all these different people happy? And... even then, like, I'm less concerned about that as I am just, like, doing whatever... Like, generally, I do just pretty much do whatever I want and, like, you know, hope that enough people enjoy it that nobody unsubscribes from the Patreon, you know? But, like, you know... Alright, yeah, let's go back up.
This is garbage.
Will you do a finish or fail for the current season?
Fucking
I don't know.
Christ.
Maybe you should go check Digibro After Dark right now, because it's already happening. It's for the whole year, but... Did you ever thought about making another Handfuls of Zen? Or is any of the effort one of those would take likely to be put into IM Games? Handfuls of Zen was sick. I feel like you asked this before. Like, really early into... Somebody asked this before. Like, exactly phrased that way, almost. Like, way earlier into I Am Games. That or I'm having fucking real deja vu right now. I probably wouldn't continue it in the form it was in, but...
Me out. Me out. This is not a dance. Oh.
Hey Tom, so I threw out the piss bottles I mentioned a few streams ago.
Excellent.
I have also bought my roommate noise-canceling headphones so he can't listen out for me. But he's pretty tech-savvy and has bought some weird stuff. Is there any way he could watch out for me? Hidden cameras, weight playing plates, etc. What do I have to look out for?
I mean, I think the first question you need to ask is, would your roommate give a fuck enough to keep tabs on your position?
Is this guy worried that his roommate is, like, stalking him?
I don't know, because what I recall from the last time he checked in with us was that he just didn't want to leave his room, didn't need to, because he had piss bottles and shit. And we both asked the question, where do you shit? And it was never really answered to an effective degree. I don't remember your room. I guess I must have missed the reason you didn't leave your room is because your roommate is a psycho stalker.
That's what it sounds like.
Person. In which case, call the police.
Yeah, that's weird. No thank you says, the reason normies see media as a competition like that is because they're in it at such shallow depths. If you listen to music all the time, you're not just going to listen to the one album over and over unless you got megatism. So you need to branch out. Normies don't have this. I've got that megatism. I listen to any album I like. I probably listen to, like, you know, a couple hundred times over the years. I don't really listen to stuff I don't like. I don't like much.
Here we go. Back at the beginning. Feel comfy again.
Digi's decompression chamber was also real good. I don't really know what the difference is between the decompression chamber and any other podcast I do. I mean, I guess if you're not a patron, you might have never heard the Patreon podcasts, which are very much in the vein, especially the Digi Does Life ones.
I keep meaning to do another wine chamber. I keep forgetting. I don't want to go here.
I was going to do a decompression chamber somewhat recently, but I ended up doing the... I usually just end up talking about the same shit I would have talked about on there, on the Digi and May Let's Plays. So, like, as far as I'm concerned, Digi and May's Pokemon Coliseum is just Digi and May's decompression chamber, basically.
Did we just never go to this level or something?
Selvar says, I cannot understand how Dick got to be friends with Maddox. He was always insufferable from the very first podcast. Only reason I can think of is that Dick knew Maddox was a fucking money mountain at the time. I don't even think Maddox was a money mountain per se, but they were both working through the same publisher. So they met through their publisher, and they lived in LA, and I think that they were trying to get a bunch of shows off the ground together, because they worked on, like, several pilots and shit. I think it's just because they were both in the sphere of talking about, like, man issues at the time. Because, like, in the mid-2000s, the internet was all about this, like, this new masculinity and, like, you know, rejection of feminism kind of thing that was going on. And both of them were a big part of that, big voices in it. So they just collaborated a whole lot. And then, like, they would get into random arguments all the time, which Dick obviously thought were super annoying, but he thought it would be funny to turn it into a podcast, so they did.
I mean, worked out in the end.
Yeah.
For him. Not so much for Maddox.
Yeah. Do you know or care about the H3H3 controversy? I don't.
There's an H3H3 controversy now?
I think he, like, went on a show and did bad. I think he went on, like, Joe Rogan or something. I don't know. Hippos said that he listened to it and it didn't seem that weird or anything, so...
Oh no, it was, they were talking about, he had Bill Burr on, and Bill Burr made him look retarded or something. I don't know if that counts as a
Thank you says the H3 controversy is just people realizing he's unfunny, I think, which I already knew. I never really considered, like, I was never a fan of H3 for thinking they were particularly funny. I just liked their sort of vibe. Some guy made a video about the podcast. Nothing super damning, but it shows a lot about how he treats people.
You're telling me a super famous YouTuber is kind of a dick?
I mean, if anybody wanted to do that to me, and they have, but they've never really approached it well, I mean, you can make the same statements about me. Here's how Digibro responds to his fans in the chat, and just take a reel from, like, this podcast. You can prove
the
how
vast
huge
majority
dick.
of people who can make it on YouTube have to have a bit of egotism.
Yeah.
It's just like, you can't do a YouTuber job unless you, like, have an abnormal amount of, like, self-confidence and, like, self-importance and self-aggrandizement to be like, I'm going to have all these people pay attention to me.
You know,
like, that takes a little bit of, like...
I can see that. I think that a big part of it, though, in my case, it's less a matter of, like, thinking I'm great as it is a matter of, I don't want to say looking down on YouTube, but just seeing it as like, oh, like, this is a job that is within the wheelhouse of things I can do, and most people are doing it badly. You know? Like, it's not so much about, like, I'm so great, people should watch me. It's more like, people are watching stuff that sucks. So, like surely I can do better than that.
I feel like that's the same, a different way of phrasing the same concept.
It kind of is, but I think that this difference is why, like, looking at it this way...
It's less about I'm great and the world sucks, which, I mean...
I just think that a lot of people, when they talk about, like, YouTubers being massively egotistic, they think that these YouTubers think that they are hot shit. And I don't think most of them think that they're hot shit. I think most of them just think that, like, that this is an easy game that doesn't have a lot of competition that's worthwhile, you know? I feel like there are so many extremely talented people out there who could do YouTube, and if they did, they would just quickly overtake everybody else. But the reason that they don't is that YouTube is such a difficult career in terms of, like, nobody looks out for you, you have no real boss, you have no, you know, pension, you don't have, like, like, a lot of people just trust the traditional stuff. Like, people trust it because it's old and because it's, like, time honored and tested and true, and they don't want to try to get involved in some new shit that is unpredictable and that doesn't work for a lot of people. But, like, if they did it, and, like, also a lot of people who try to get into YouTube, they don't learn enough about YouTube. Like, when old media people try to get into something new, they just do it, but, like, they don't watch it. It's like, you have to watch enough YouTube to understand what the fuck it is. You have to, like, you know, do enough experimentation to figure out the game. But there are people out there who are, you know, who are really amazing writers or speakers or whatever, who could do YouTube. They just don't. And, like, I think that someone like me would not have nearly the platform I do if, like, the caliber of, like, anime writers that exist outside of YouTube existed on YouTube. But they just fucking don't, you know? Like, I would not be the... Like, I would not have the kind of confidence I do that I can go around shitting on other anime YouTubers if the kind of people who were writing blogs back when I was a blogger were doing YouTube instead, you know? Which is why I had made that video where I called out, like, the old guard of anime people, where I was like, why aren't you guys coming to YouTube because you guys have all this fucking knowledge about all this old shit that nobody talks about anymore and nobody knows how to research. So like, we need you guys, but nobody's biting. None of them give a fuck about YouTube. They don't care about the new generation media. And in fairness, they probably shouldn't, because YouTube might not sustain itself for long, you know? But, like, new media is not going anywhere. It's not like YouTube's gonna die and we're all gonna go back to fucking watching TV and reading books. Like, we're just gonna create something new.
Right.
Anyway, we have crossed the 2 hours threshold if you want to, if you want to stop at any point.
Well, yeah, I probably will when I'm done with this. But apparently, the level thing that I was looking at doesn't show levels
Tom,
you haven't found yet.
Tom, have you got all the dragons in the previous homeworlds?
Well, now I don't know, because I was looking at this map, but I just came to this level called Dark Hollow, which was not on this list, when I realized these are only levels you've been to, so there are probably levels that I didn't find yet. So I have no idea what the fuck's going on. So I just found like 4 dragons, or 3 dragons that I weren't even on the list before, so... I just gotta start combing shit over. More hardcore. Damn it. I need 6 more gems. I can 100% this level. What do I do? Someone is texting me right now.
Digi, what do you want? Do you like videos still? I like doing videos. I enjoy all the stuff I'm making. It's like, it's not as though I'm just doing shit for the fucking sake of itself. Like, I still make stuff I like to make. But like, it's just that like, if I had my choice of what I would cover, it would be like covering obscure shows in an obscure way, in an experimental style that would not vibe with everybody. Like, I mean, if you saw that Finish or Fail video, like, the way that the end part of it is edited, or, like, I would do everything way less direct. Like, my career has largely been about, like, disambiguating and explaining things, and if I were to make the kind of content I wanted to make, it would not be so easily understood. And, like, I think that would be kind of antithetical to what a lot of people want from me. Because a lot of people want me to be explaining things and making it more comprehensible for them, not less. But at the same time, I feel like inherently I'm putting training wheels on people, like, you know, some shit can only be felt. I think Jalen just gave us $1 at the bottom of the chat. No, it's just 2 cents.
Oh. I almost...
Since the Friday streams are dead, shouldn't the streams be longer? No.
The whole point of killing the Friday stream was because the show was taking up a lot of time.
Yeah, it takes up too much of our time for the amount of money that we make on it.
So by increasing the streams, we would do nothing but shuffling our misery instead of reducing it. 100% of the level!
Not that it's miserable to do.
No, it is not miserable at all. But looking at the finances versus the expenditures, that's the misery.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but, you know, video games are a crowded market. That has a lazy effect on that grass. Or is that like a haze effect? Alright, well, we were at 43 dragons. We need 50. So, still got our work cut out for us.
Is that it? Are we calling it here?
I guess so.
Alright, everybody.
Thanks for coming out to I Am Games.
Sorry about all the chat I didn't get to, but I'm reading through it and it doesn't seem like I'm missing anything too important. Will Tom ever try to write any I Am Games videos? He did. He wrote the Doom one.
He did.
And he might write a Splatoon one.
Yeah. I have minor editorial additions, subtractions, and suggestions on the scripts. I do go over the script. You usually send it to me before we sign off on it, so...
Yeah.
I'm not just a brainless mouthpiece. just mostly a brainless mouthpiece.
Alright, everybody. That's it for today's... Oh god, you got all kinds of shit open on this fucking thing.
Yeah.
Some code shit. What's the outro there, Tom?
Be the games you want to see, and be the money I want to see in my bank account. Do it!